Good afternoon and thanks for joining us here on Midday Live. My name is Wendy Laya. Headlines for this afternoon. Cabinet postpones month-long closed fishing season. Thousands of acres of crop farms flooded in Boko West District of the Upper East region. Ghana National Association of Garages condemns physical assault on Nigerian spare parts traders. And on the firing front, Zimbabwean President Mnangagwa appeals for national unity. We've got details of these stories and many more lined up. Do stay with us. Let's start with one of our headline stories. And the Nigerian spare parts dealers at Swami Magazine in Kumasi are demanding security protection to enable them carry out their trading activities. The traders allege some of their members are being assaulted by members of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, who want them out of business. But the Garages Association of Ghana has condemned the actions and attacks on the Nigerian traders. Here's a report by Beatrice Biogabra and Ibrahim Abubakar.
The renewed attacks on the Nigerian spare part dealers at Swami Magazine follow a demand by their Ghanaian counterparts to stop foreigners from engaging in retail business. Chairman of the Nigerian Union Traders Association of Ghana, NUTAG, Chief Obiora Kizito, says about 10 members have been assaulted in the past 2 days. He describes the alleged assaults as unfortunate.
Some have gone to the hospital and even bring police report, which I will show to the media.
The Nigerians have closed shop at Swami Magazine. Chief Obiora says the shops will reopen only when they are assured of maximum security.
Because we need police protection, we really want the security authority to give us protection before we go back to our business. Because if we go back alone, they will continue doing that. Really, some of our people have been injured. Who knows the next line of action? Because we don't want to listen to them. This time around, the next thing they will do is that they will kill people before we will listen to them. So we don't want any of our people to die. So we believe the best thing to do is to come to the security agency to protect us.
The Ghanaian traders have accused the Nigerians of price undercutting to attract customers, but the Ghana National Association of Garages has condemned the violent attacks on the Nigerian spare part dealers. Leaders of the Garages Association say they support the enforcement of the law barring foreigners from retail business, but want enforcement to be devoid of violent attacks.
There are more Ghanaians too doing business in Nigeria, some of them retailing. So if we do that, we don't deal with these Nigerians with care, we are going to bring a serious problem to the Ghanaians in Nigeria. So we do not agree with the spare parts dealers who have taken the law into their own hands, attacking the Nigerian people in Magazine here.
The garages say they will resist any attempt by the indigenous spare part dealers to take the law in their hands in the name of enforcement to assault Nigerians.
Among this story, the Ghana National Association of Garages at Swami Magazine has condemned physical assaults on Nigerian traders. Now, some spare parts dealers at Swami are alleged to have assaulted their Nigerian counterparts and renewed drive by GUTA to kick out foreign traders. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the association, Nana Osei-Bunso, has been speaking to our correspondent, Ibrahim Abubakar.
What are your concerns this afternoon with regards to Nigerians doing retail businesses in the country?
Yeah, thank you very much. Nigerians came to Magazine here through the spare parts dealers. They brought the Nigerians here. They are doing business with the Nigerians. And now they hide stores to the Nigerians, so they rented the stores to the Nigerians to retail. So government has now passed a law that foreigners should not do retailing. Yes, we accept the law and we are in support of it. But for the Nigerians doing business in Magazine here, for the spare parts dealers to attack them, that is lawlessness. We will never accept that, because it is the government who passed the law and it is the government who has to enforce the law, not any individual or group of people. Here is an industrial site vested in the name of Ghana National Association of Garages. So anybody here is under the garages. So nobody can do whatever he wants on the land of the association. We will never agree to that, and we will never accept that. As I was saying 3 days ago, I witnessed these papers dealers attacking a mechanic for doing business with the Nigerians. We will never sit down for that to continue.
You made reference to some Ghanaians also doing retail business in Nigeria.
Yes, it is true. There are Ghanaians doing retailing in Nigeria and other businesses. Some are mechanics, some are storekeepers, so many businesses. So if we go that way, if we don't treat this problem diligently, we are going to have problem. We are going to create problem for our people in Nigeria.
What do you intend to do, since the spare parts dealers, like you said, have even started attacking mechanics and artisans?
As for that, we will first advise them that they should stop it, because they also attacked a mechanic, which we do not accept. If they continue to do that, we also express our dissatisfaction to them.
And by expressing your dissatisfaction, what exactly do you mean?
If you are holding a machete, beating up a mechanic, what do you think the mechanics should also do? We also defend ourselves, and we are more than them. If they want to attack us, because they think that we, the mechanics, are doing business with the Nigerians. And for that reason, they are trying to attack some of the mechanics who do business with the Nigerians, which is not acceptable, you see. So they have to stop it. For the police or the military to come and enforce the law. They are not the law, so they can't take the law into their own hands.
That was the Ashanti Regional Chairman of Ghana National Association of Garages, Nana Ose Bonsu. Well, they are saying that they are in support with the government law of banning foreigners from doing retail business, but then they will also resist any attempt by the spare parts dealers here at Swami Magazine to take the law into their hands and assault the Nigerian counterparts. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Swami.
So we're still following the story, bringing you some more updates as and when we get them. Let's move on to other stories now. And Cabinet has decided to postpone the 1-month closed fishing season, which was expected to start on August 7, 2018 to next year. Now, the Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Elizabeth Na Afole Kwe, made this known Friday evening at a meeting with stakeholders in the fisheries industry in Accra. The minister said the closed season, which would have come into force from August 7 to September 4, 2018, will now be implemented in 2019. The minister indicated is said to have urged the operators in the sector to prepare and be ready to comply in August 2019. According to the ministry, government decided to postpone the implementation following concerns raised by the industry players. The closed season was meant for all fleets comprising canoe, inshore boats and trawlers. However, vessels involved in the harvesting of tuna were exempted because they were assumed to conduct their business in the deep seas. Although August had been touted as the bumper season, the same period has been described as the spawning season for aquatic lives. And now let's take a listen to what the minister had to say about this very decision.
Yekaye se afarifo nyina entwen bosome baako omonko epone so enkoye omo adwuma ne America ne se yetie afarifo omo problems concerns omo raise
The closed fishing season, which should have suspended fishing activities for a month, has been put on hold. We have listened to concerns of the fishers across the country regarding the short notice, hence the postponement to next year, August 2019. We want everyone to prepare well so that we can attract the best results. By this move, we are giving enough notice and time for all to prepare adequately for the best for this country.
We also spoke to Professor Dennis Wolanyo Aheto on the issue on News at 10 yesterday. Here are excerpts.
Are you surprised about this move and sudden change in government's actions?
It comes with some mixed feelings. However, I think that one of the critical issues that was raised as part of the consultations that went around across the coastal regions was that of not so much consultation at the level of the fishermen and fishing groups, especially at the level of the associations. And so I believe that this news, in as much as it comes with mixed feelings, especially also for those of us who are scientists, I believe that by and large, we should receive it as a welcome news. Primarily because when we talk about fisheries management, is one, for us to achieve the goals of effective fisheries management programming, it is important for us to have a voluntary compliance to the regulations, as opposed to one that we follow stringent enforcement, because that comes at a very huge cost, especially for the complex sector of fisheries, as we've all come to know.
Now, you said
on the flip side, I believe that in as much as it's a difficult decision, I believe also on the part of government, because they went ahead, the minister went ahead and announced this, obviously for good reasons, to sustain our fisheries for the future and for, of course, also for the present generation, is one that we welcomed it as a scientist because it's virtually something that she did in order to follow the regulation as enshrined in the Fisheries Act and, of course, the Fisheries Management Plan. And we believe that, it's really mixed feelings at this point, but we just wait and see how it goes.
You say, for those of you, for scientifically, there are mixed feelings. In that sense of things, is it a good move by government, scientifically?
Well, I'll put it as not so much of a good news, but I believe that, as I mentioned, science is something that you cannot change. Once the results are pointing to the fact that the stocks have declined and the fact that we need to take an urgent action, I think that by and large, those of us who are scientists that have looked into the fishery stock situation, we felt that the decision of government was good. But then you see, on the flip side, the stakeholding processes that led to the announcement should have also been one that, even though it was broad-based, the fishermen had actually said that they were not fully prepared. Some of them had gone for loans ahead of the fishing season. Some of them had actually prepared so well. So I think from that perspective, I believe that it's one that we can see that this announcement of the close season for the first time in this country brought the discussions of fisheries management to the fore. So I think that we should take this as a good news for now, because then it brings inclusiveness in decision making for the future. But I think that I also would want to use this platform to say that I wish to propose that we need to have a calendar of close season for this country, where it's not just for 2019, but 2019, 2020, 2021, at least a minimum of 3 years. We should have a calendar of our close season, which should be backed by science, so that we can follow through the process in a way that everybody gets on board.
This is still Midday Live. To some more stories, and the Malam Junction section of the Accra-Kaswa Road will be closed to vehicular traffic, and then it starts from tomorrow 10 p.m. and will be reopened by 10 a.m. on Monday. The stretch will be closed on Wednesday, August 8 at 10 p.m. and will be reopened for use by 10 a.m. on Thursday, August 9. On August 11, the stretch will be closed at 10 p.m. and will be reopened on Sunday, 12 August by 10 a.m. Now, joining me shortly, you'll be seeing him shortly. I do have in the studio Engineer Gabriel Engman. He is the sanitary engineer for Gamma Sanitation and Water Project. Good afternoon, engineer, and thanks for your time. Now, what really has necessitated this closure of the road, and what exactly are the details for this closure?
Okay, so you agree with me that some months ago we had to cut through the road and install a culvert to alleviate flooding in that area. So we done with that, and at the moment we are satisfied that we've achieved some level of compaction in the area to reinstate the asphalt. So this announcement, or trying to advise the public that for the next 10 days we would be doing this work. Now we've broken the works into 3 stages. The first stage we'll look at the Awoshi Kaswa route. The second stage we'll look at the Kaneshi Kaswa route, and the third stage we'll look at the Kaswa Kaneshi route. Now all these stages, we've summed them into 3 days, actually 3 nights. So the first two nights we would be doing some preparatory works on that stretch, and then on the third night between 10 p.m. and 10 a.m. we would reinstate the asphalt. Actually, the reinstatement of the asphalt takes just a few hours, about 2 hours. But because of the heat, we want to wait till it cools down before we allow traffic to flow on the various routes. So we anticipate that those sections, like when we want to do the asphalt on the 5th, that is Sunday, and on the 8th, which is Wednesday, and on the 11th, which is Saturday, from 10 p.m. we would close the road to traffic as we do the asphalt reinstatement, and we have other alternative routes. Basically on the site, if you're taken from Awoshi towards Kaswa, we'll divert the traffic onto beneath the interchange, and they will join the traffic flow from Kaneshi towards Kaswa. And when we move to the Kaneshi-Kaswa stretch, we'll divert traffic from Kaneshi towards Kaswa onto the Kaswa-Kaneshi stretch. Because we'll be doing it in the night, we don't anticipate exceedingly heavy traffic, and we are sure that by morning we'll be done with the work so that traffic will still flow.
Have you done enough sensitization on this, and what forms did you use to ensure that people are aware of this?
Okay, since we started the project, we've always been sensitized, even through social media. We've distributed flyers, we've gone on radio, on TV, just educating and sensitizing the public. We've engaged Ghana Private Road Transport Union, we've engaged STC, we've engaged the police, we've engaged Ghana Highway Authority. So all the key stakeholders have been engaged, and they are assisting us with the process. Because of the nature of that stretch and the fact that it's a very busy stretch, we saw it necessary to engage all our stakeholders, even including the general public, to be aware of this work that we are doing.
So for viewers, and especially commuters who live around that area and residents, clarity in their minds, when exactly will this project end? Okay,
so this asphalting reinstatement would end on the 12th of August. However, downstream we will be doing some works which will not necessarily affect traffic on that stretch. But this reinstatement of asphalt we intend to complete by 12. But out of the 12 days that we have, on only 3 days we would allow to close the road to traffic.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. Engineer Gabriel Engman is a sanitary engineer with the Gamma Sanitation and Water Project. Thank you. You're still watching Midday Live. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Let's look at some business stories now. And the Ghana Revenue Authority has justified not all engaging stakeholders before introducing the tax on luxury vehicles. Commissioner General of the GRA, Kofi Nti, explains that the decision was based on the national interest.
The law imposing an annual tax on vehicles with high-capacity engines became effective on August 1, 2018. This law, according to the Ghana Revenue Authority, affects vehicles with engine capacity of 2,950 cubic centimeters and above, and thus the DVLA is the authorized body to collect the levy ranging from 1,000 to 2,000 cedis on behalf of government. There are growing concerns from car dealers on the need to have engaged them before introducing the law. But speaking exclusively to TV3, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Kofi Nti, says they couldn't have engaged all stakeholders.
This is a public interest issue. And public interest issue, when it is a public interest issue, it depends on the availability of time to do full consultation. Some consultations were done. But it's not as holistic as the society generally may have wanted it to. But if it wasn't done holistically, it's because of the time constraint. And when we saw the need to do it and the time we had to get it implemented, that was a bit of a short time. But it was guided by public interest. And so let the society at large look at it as a public interest, and that in the times when a lot of revenue is being called for, we look out for the situation and we say, look, we are calling our men. Let them come in, let them help the state generate their revenue to support us. And so a lot of thinking went through. We've done a lot of thinking. Actually, a lot of debates at the critical levels were done. And so the society, we want the society alike to look at it that way. That it's not everything that we have to bring everybody in. But in this one, the unappealing thing was the public interest.
He insists that government appointees are not exempted from paying the levy.
Financial analyst Joe Jackson has appealed to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to bring to book all those responsible for the negotiation of the Ameri deal. Joe Jackson believes the deal was fraudulent and one intended to mislead the president. He was speaking on a New Day program.
The original Ameri deal was bad. When you look at the new figures, Eric, you don't even need a calculator. Just the look at those figures tells you, somebody must be thinking, somebody must be living in some different land, or did somebody smoke some weird kind of herb or tea, drink some weird tea before they came up with these numbers? I mean, it's incredible. You are president. We have to believe you were misled, because any other kind of belief will take us down lanes we don't want to go to. I beg you, you have been embarrassed. Sack somebody.
So other business stories, the Vice President has directed the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Ifriya Kuto, to urgently initiate a ban on the importation of chicken. Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia is confident the ban will boost local production of chicken and provide employment for the teeming youth.
The Vice President was reacting to comments by the Sector Minister of Agriculture for reducing the importation of maize. The Sector Minister, Dr. Ifriya Kuto, was elated that the Planting for Food and Jobs program had reduced the importation of maize. Under the policy alone, through maize production, more than 200,000 farmers have been engaged to produce maize and other cereals. He again said the ministry has issued licenses for some private organizations to also engage in local production of maize.
This time, not a grain of maize was imported into this country since maybe 10 years or 15 years now, because the local supplies were so good. The local prices were far below the world price, that we issued import licenses to 7 organizations to import maize, but because the world prices were higher than ours, it was a no-show.
The Vice President, who was pleased with the work of the minister, challenged him to ban the importation of chicken.
That yes, you have announced very nicely that we've stopped importing maize this year. So very soon, in the next couple of years, I want you to announce that we've also stopped importing chicken. That is the challenge that I want to give you in the next couple of years.
In another development, the Minister of Agriculture is to set up a machinery to manufacture handheld farm implements. The Minister of Agriculture said the government will increase crop production to satisfy both the international and local markets. He applauded the Vice President for spearheading the lifting of the ban on the export of vegetables to European markets.
We are going to increase the export of vegetables and fruits and vegetables exports to match even cocoa production. Cocoa, the revenues that we will get ultimately from that. We've set up 3 villages, what I call greenhouse villages, in this initial period, and we are working closely with an Israeli firm to ensure that the nucleus will turn out to be something very big.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia pledged to fashion out policies to improve agriculture, which currently employs 46% of Ghanaians. He stressed on the construction of 570 dams under the One Village, One Dam policy to boost agriculture.
Equally important interventions are being rolled out in the irrigation subsector in the pursuit of the One Village, One Dam program. Under this One Village, One Dam program, which is going to be, or which is being implemented in the 3 northern regions, we expect about 570 dams to be constructed by next year.
This year's National Farmers' Day, due to be held in the northern region, is on the theme Agriculture Moving Ghana Beyond Aid.
To one trending story on the business front as well, and after the collapse of the 5 banks and their subsequent measure by the Bank of Ghana into a consolidated bank, ace broadcaster and comedian Kweku Sintim Misa, popularly known as KSM, in a controversial tweet chided Ghanaian pastors for not foreseeing this shakeup in the banking sector. In his tweet, he expressed his surprise at how pastors are quick to predict the death of celebrities, yet fail to foresee possible fold-ups of the banks. His tweet read, and I quote, "Just notice that God does not give the prophet any info about banks. I'm shocked none of them saw this banking collapse." That's the bank collapse coming. Now, evidently, God is more concerned about when celebrities would die. Asemo. And now this has generated some controversy as some pastors have openly criticized him for this tweet. Some said even though they foresaw the shakeups in the banking sector, KSM insistently went public to criticize them. Now, staying a while longer on this story, a viral video on social media shows a pastor prophesied about the shakeup in the banking sector. Let's take a look at this.
I see banking institutions joining. In 2018, others will collapse and some will join some. There is people coming, they are uniting, institutions are uniting, nations are united. And these things are coming to serve as what Jesus said. A pope said the coming of the Savior is close.
So the man of God you just saw in that video is here in the studio, Reverend Isaac Ofori. He is with Overcomers Breed International. Good afternoon, Reverend, and thanks for agreeing to speak with us.
Good afternoon.
Now, when exactly did you have this prophecy?
31st December 2017.
And what did you do about it, aside what we just watched? What happened thereafter?
Well, we put it on YouTube. And of course, church has many relations. And so people were able to forward the message. But you know, if you're a young church, nobody listens to you. If it had come from a major pastor or a mega church, it will be taken with all seriousness. So God is concerned about every aspect of this country.
Is it the bit about being a smaller church, or is it a bit about being a man of God prophesying this and it not being taken seriously?
The issue is two. It's either side. Could be a man of God prophesying, it was not taken seriously. And if he had come also from a mega pastor, the way they will handle it is different.
Now, this issue about banks not putting their house in order has come up over and over again. And for some, they believe that it's not a spiritual problem. It's just that they haven't done right. That is why we're here. And that's why we find ourselves in this position. What do you make of that?
I partly agree, because to stick to one side of the case is unfair. God is concerned about government. God is concerned about finances. God is the originator of money. And he can show us how to appropriately distribute this money. And so there is a spiritual component of it. God will not reveal anything about an issue if he has nothing to say about it. So there is a spiritual component to it.
No, so with what you've just seen, and what do we do? You've mentioned that God is concerned about all these things. What do we do going forward? And do you foresee more doom?
What we need to do is to pick God's view concerning money. You see, the view we have about money is not God's view. God's view about money is just like the ruler that went to Jesus and asked, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said, go, sell all you have, give it to the poor. So as far as God is concerned, his view about money is that those who have should give to those who do not have. Now, let's take that to our nation. The nation has money. Banking institutions have money. But what is their view? How do they see the money? Is the money used as a tool to help the poor, or the money becomes a tool to rather amass wealth? And so God has an aspect about money. Not forgetting the end times, he said that perilous time will come, and men will be lovers of money. So people are lovers, banks are lovers of money. That is why
the banks engage in a lot of corporate social responsibility. They help a lot of people. They go to schools. They help people in rural communities. So is that not exactly what you're talking about?
They do that, and which they must, because it's part of their policies. But the issue is that you go to the bank for a loan, and then you take 1,000, and you have to pay ×2 of what you took. So where is the help? Now, the help means that you are helping somebody stand on their feet. The same money you have taken becomes a problem because you are not able to pay. So the banks want money, the customers also want money. And though they cannot pay, they will still take it because they love the money.
All right. We're grateful for your time, Reverend Isaac Ofori. He is with Overcomers Breed International. You're still watching Midday Live. Let's move on to other stories. And tens of thousands of acres of assorted crop farms have been submerged in flash floods in Boko West District of the Upper East region. Now, district officials of the National Disaster Management Organization say the district is recording more rains, leading to water levels in lakes, rivers and tributaries rising significantly. Eva Tibuka has more on the story.
Usually the rains are heavy in August through to September. However, flash floods are already causing havoc in July and 2 days into August. Incessant rains have caused water levels in the White and Red Volta to swell to record high. Deputy District NADMO Director Daniel Ania Atampuba says water levels in other water bodies are also incredibly full.
25th, 26th, you could not even go near the White Volta. Other rivers, especially the Red Volta, other dams and other tributaries that even connects to this White Volta, they all overflowed their banks. Even small rivers in town, they all overflowed their banks.
27 communities in the district are already affected by the flash floods. NADMO is yet to assess the level of damage, but officials noted large swaths of assorted crop farms nearing harvest are covered in the floods. Ndibugri Simon Alariba and others say they watched their farms being washed away during the rains.
7 good hours. As we are talking today, that's almost 8 days today. And as we are talking, the water is still there. Most of the crops are still submerged in the water. We were thinking that the water could have flowed out quickly and allowed the maize and other crops to survive.
And I've never experienced this kind of flood before. I've been experiencing flood, but not like this year.
The rain pattern here has been that continuous. I have about 10 acres. I planted maize, granite, and then that of the lead millet.
Cashew farms were also not spared. The Deputy NADMO Director says it will be disastrous if the rains do not subside anytime soon.
Boku West District would be in a sad mood. If the Bakri Dam opens today, then it means that we have to declare the Boku West District as a disaster district.
Bagri Dam is always filled late August or early September, but Atampuba says already his checks indicate Burkina Faso is also recording heavy rains.
I was suspecting that maybe the Bagri Dam, they must have opened it without our knowledge. But when I make my checks, I realize that they have not opened the Bagri Dam. So expect more water, especially from the Bagri Dam, because it rains all the way from Burkina Faso down to Ghana here. So I'm sure by now they too would have been facing some kind of challenges. So the possibility of opening the Bakri Dam is high.
In anticipation of heavy rains which could cause more flooding, the district NADMO officials can only monitor the situation.
No vehicle, no even a motorbike, no even a walking boot. As I'm standing, we are standing on the full bed, no walking boot for us. Absolutely nothing. Have to work. You cannot sit in the office and say that because of these challenges, I will not work.
Daniel Atampuba wants national authorities to begin talks with Burkinabe authorities for moderate level spillage this year in order to avert extensive flood damage in Ghana.
To some others, and the Islamic calendar, the Hajj pilgrimage of this year commences on Sunday, August 5, and the Ghana Hajj Board is putting in the necessary measures ahead of the travel. A number of Ghanaian security personnel will be accompanying the pilgrims to ensure their safety.
The Ghana Hajj Board is preparing to accommodate 5,500 pilgrims this year, as compared to 6,200 pilgrims that were accommodated last year. Owing to debt and other problems encountered last year, the Hajj Board has reduced the number of travellers to make things comfortable for the pilgrims. Speaking in an interview with Dr. Abubakari Siddiq Ahmed, the Director of Communications Ghana Hajj Board, he said a total of 19 flights have been chartered, out of which 9 flights will cater for Tamale and 10 for Accra. He explained some preparation the board is making to ensure smooth travel this year.
We want to ensure that we don't have any congestion here, and we do not want to have any challenges. The best thing to do is to quickly hand over the passports to the various agents. And this has been the first time in the annals of Hajj that 2 weeks to the very first flight, such information is out. So this gives the agents as well as the Hajj, which gives us 2 categories of payments, either through the bank account of the Hajj Board or to the agents. The agents have been directed. What we are doing this year is to group them from here and allow them to fly according to their agents. So if an agent has, say, 1,000 pilgrims, we will have groupings of 50.
You're still watching Midday Live with me, Wendy Lai. We have sports next. Do stay with us. And organizers of the annual Radio and Television Personality Awards, RTP Big Event Ghana, have released the nomination forms for the 2018 edition of the awards, commencing the process and activities preceding the 8th edition of the event for this year.
The ceremony to announce nominations for media personalities took place at the Holiday Inn Hotel in Accra on Friday. The date of the event for the 8th edition of Adonko RTP Awards is on the 6th of October at the Accra International Conference Center. The RTP Awards are for both radio and TV personalities. The launch of this year's event attracted a number of radio and television personalities, the media and stakeholders in the creative arts industry. CEO for Radio and Television Personalities Awards, Prince Mackay, explained how nominees can win the awards.
The voting is not 100% text or 100% SMS, but it's 60-40. So 60% for the public and 40% for the technical committee. So the results that come through your votes, together with the results from the technical committee, will get a cumulative to eventually get a winner for each category. 5 categories have been dropped from this year's RTP Awards. We have television reality show dropped, television current affairs show dropped, television local series dropped, radio talk show host of the year dropped, and online voter dropped.
Female presenter Stacey Amuatin expressed her gratitude for her nomination.
The personality of the year is the ultimate person who's worked within media throughout the year, and I feel very humbled because it's been hard work. The whole media journey has been 18 years now, so to work and know that your work is being appreciated and to be given such a huge nomination is a big deal. It's really a big deal, so I'm really humbled.
Away from that story, the final funeral rites of the late high life icon Joel Aka will take place this weekend. That's August 4, 2018. Now, the funeral, which is expected to be attended by lots of high-profile Ghanaians, will take place in Tema.
Joel Aka, who died on Friday, April 27 at 73, will be laid to rest on Saturday, August 4. The funeral will be preceded by a wake on Friday, August 3 at the Complex Park at Community 11 in Tema. The burial service and final funeral rites will also be held at the Complex Park. The body of the legend will be laid to rest in Axim, his hometown in the Western region, after the burial service. The funeral is expected to be attended by a cross-section of Ghanaians and some very big names like ex-presidents Jerry John Rawlings and John Mahama to mourn with the family and pay their last respects to the legend. Speaking on Onia FM's Enijemre with Christian, Vice President of Musica, Bessa Simmons, commended Kofi Kinata, Nero X and Samini for always showing up at the funerals of veteran musicians.
Them 2 young musicians in Magordo. Oye Kofi Kinata, no Nero X. Anytime at the GBC, Papa Yancy may do Sika Woba. What was so a woman beer with their waba and paying from wage. Mamma Mumbo is Samini soon about it. Okay, yeah.
May his soul rest in peace, and we'll bring you some more of the funeral rites and anything in relation to the funeral and subsequent bulletin, which is News 360 at 7. Next, we bring you some of Tilapia's works. On that note, we end Midday Live. My name is Wendy Lai. Thank you so much for watching. News 360 is at 7. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Do have a lovely afternoon.